VP of the youth class. So you always see him be there, active. He's always doing so much of back-end service that we all have no idea which groups he is in the service. But that's also his humility, which is great. He professionally he did his engineering from Harry Potter, and he did really well in that also. So we're looking forward to hear from you, Jayanth. Thank you so much for taking the service.
Whatever she said, right? Am I audible in the kitchen? Is it fine in the kitchen? I don't know. Okay, fine. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, firstly, whatever Kripamai Mataji said, it's all because of my seniors. There's a very beautiful verse which goes by Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripata Maham Vande Shri Gurum Dinadaram. Where the verse, just in quick summary, it says that everything is because of the seniors, the spiritual master. And our seniors at the youth class being Padita Pavan Dhruv, Ramraj, Vasudev Prabhu, Akinchan Prabhu, and obviously Nandkumar Prabhu and Shubha Mataji. It's all because of them. We all are here today. Whatever I'm going to speak is because of their guidance. And obviously all thanks to my parents for encouraging me, supporting me during my journey of Krishna consciousness. And all glories to Prabhupada. Perfect. Let's begin. So Bhagavad Gita 2.4243. Yam imam pushpitam vacha pravartante vipashita vedavadana tatpartha nanyadashtiti va kamatma swarga para janma karma phala pradhan kriya vishesha bahulam bhogeshwara karam. I'll quickly read out the translation from this, all glories to Prabhupada. Men of small knowledge are very attached to the flowery words of Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say there is nothing more than this. Now, Prabhupada in the purport and about this verse, he says that people in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are attached to the fruitive activities which are recommended in the Karma-Kanda section of the Vedas. They don't want anything other than these sense gratificationary or material necessities of life. So it is said that for desiring elevation to the heavenly planets, you should do so and so sacrifices. And men of small fund of knowledge consider that as the whole purpose of the Vedic wisdom. But what actually is the sum and substance of the Vedas? Establishing one's relationship and ultimately reviving our lost loving service onto the Lord. That is the sum and substance of the Vedas. The Narad Muni, the great sage, through the Bhagavatam says, we've got this human form of life. We shouldn't be worrying about what should we do for our food, friends, necessities, shelter. We get this human form very rarely, 8.4 million species. And it is considered human form to be one of the rarest forms of all of them. But what does he say that what should we then look for? He says that we should instead look for relief. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So he says that we should be instead looking for relief from these material necessities. Something which helps us to escape birth and death and the whole cycle. Yesterday I was speaking at one of the other youth classes, and we were discussing that how, say for example, you have a park which is circular. How many times can you go around the park on a cycle? Once, twice, maybe 5 times, 10 times max. Aren't we doing this birth after birth? Going through that same cycle of birth, old age, disease, death, birth, old age, disease, death. Don't we think that we should escape this cycle? Aren't we just done with it? Do you still want to, every birth after birth after birth, you want to come, face the disease of you, face the difficulties here? Why? Yeah. But again, one may argue that the Vedas just constantly speak about sacrifices, sacrificial ceremonies. Well, that's true, I agree. But sacrifices are meant to realize the truth about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, the other name of Krishna is Yajna, sacrifice. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that all sacrifices and activities should be conducted for the satisfaction of Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But again, as Narad Muni mentioned, we are constantly just looking for, shelter ka hai, mera khana ka hai, defense ka hai, Netflix ka hai mera. Yeah? So when the mind is allowed to associate with the desires of senses, the mind in fact gives facilities to lust, anger and greed. And these three qualities will doubtlessly kill the yogi within us, kill the person who is able to do the sacrifices. Our senior Vasudev Prabhu, in one of his class in late 2021, he spoke on how devotional service surpasses all liberation, and he made a very beautiful point about how we are all aspiring devotees. We're not yet devotees, yes, because our senses are not yet controlled. If our senses are controlled, we'll definitely be devotees. So why don't we actually aim to be a devotee? Yeah? Why don't we perform sacrifices of our sense desires to become a devotee? We see that, of a human being, he or she is constantly performing sacrifices. A school kid, he's told, go to sleep early. You have school tomorrow morning. A college kid doesn't have a sleep routine in place. And then when you become a parent, you've given up everything for your parents. I'm sure we all can appreciate the amount of sacrifices our parents have done for us. Yeah. And a lot of other things. Social workers, for example, they're doing so many sacrifices just for the society welfare. What are they getting out of it? Nothing. And even if they do all of these sacrifices, they're never satisfied, never peaceful. Yeah. Even after you give up so many sleepless nights, you still end up like, oh, I could have done better in uni. Yeah? Prabhupada gives a very beautiful definition of the word sacrifice. He says that the word sacrifice suggests dedication of one's own interest for satisfaction of a second person. The whole world is engaged in sacrificing time, energy, money for economic, social, or scientific development of the world, but no one is interested in sacrificing their efforts for the sake of the Lord, who is actually the enjoyer for all sacrifice, the ultimate provider, and in fact, the friend of every living being. In the office, for example, it is the duty of the worker to ensure that the boss is happy. At home, it's the duty of the man to ensure that the family is happy. But what about the Lord? Yeah. People in the previous yugas definitely ensured that some sacrifice was done. For example, in Satya Yuga, it was recommended meditating on the Lord as the ultimate goal or ultimate realization to get liberation. In Treta Yuga, it was recommended to perform yagyas. Dwapara Yuga, it was recommended to do worship of deities. And in Kali Yuga, Sankirtana, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So although we all would agree that Kali Yuga is one of the worst from all four, yeah, but it has one of the greatest benefits from the four. All auspicious appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, if you think about it, he is more merciful than Lord Krishna himself. Lord Krishna came down, killed the demons. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down, made demons the devotees of the Lord. Yeah? In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami explains so beautifully about him. He says that his beauty is his astra, or weapon, to subdue the demons. Because he is all attractive, it is understood that all demigods live in his companion. Yeah? His acts were uncommon and his associates were wonderful. When he propagated the Sankirtana movement, he attracted great scholars and acharyas. Yeah. His one of the best associates being Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhara, and Srivasa. Because of his skin tone being molten gold, he's also called the Golden Avatara. And with him, he brought the Golden Age. 10,000 years from his appearance marks the Golden Age. And this is the period where we can get left, right, and center and get the most mercy possible. Take for example, you are in a mall, Mr. Beast video, yeah? He traps you in a mall for 45 minutes. He's like, go run around wherever you want, buy whatever you want to, do whatever you want to, I'll pay for it. Yeah? Similarly, these 10,000 years, we have to go left, right, and center, get the most mercy possible. Yeah? In fact, Prabhupada boldly said that if we chant our rounds and follow the four regulative principles, we're definitely going back to Godhead. But again, the same question comes in. People previously had time to perform these sacrifices, now we don't. In fact, Prabhupada wanted us to be 100% Krishna consciousness. And that's why he said that you chant and follow the four regulative principles. Chanting is so important that in Bhagavad Gita 10.25, Krishna says that of the sacrifices and the chanting of the holy name, Japa. In fact, I would quickly like to hear from you all from Bhagavad Gita 10.20 to 10.38. What are the different other forms which Lord mentions? Like for example, he mentioned that I'm the banyan tree of the trees, from the sages of among the demigods, I'm the Narada. What else? Anyone?
And the taste in the water.
I'm the taste in water.
Mountains, Mount somewhere. That is a Mount
And the
Mount
Bible.
Meru.
Sorry?
Of the mountains, he is
Meru.
Mount Meru, yeah.
Is it Meru or Himalayas?
Meru.
Oh, actually it's Himalaya.
Yeah.
And of the fish.
Yeah. Then?
His intelligence in math.
Beautiful.
Of the rivers is Ganga.
And the rivers is Ganga. Then? Anyone else?
The vowels A.
Hmm?
Of the vowels A.
Yeah. Of the transcendental vibration, he's the Om. Among the birds, he's the Garuda.
The season
He's the sun and
Yeah. Sorry, he's the?
between December to June.
Yeah, and so that period is called where the flowers blossom. Yeah? You were saying something?
Of the warriors?
Yeah.
Not Arjuna? Is it?
demons. He is Prahlad.
Huh?
He is Sukracharya among the.
Yes, perfect. Yeah?
Of the fishes, he is the shark.
Yes. Yeah. So the Lord gives so many, so if you think about it, the Lord is present in so many forms and He is all around us. Yeah? But today we'll be focusing on one specific, which is again coming back to 10.25 of the sacrifices and the chanting of the holy name, Japa. This is Krishna's representation of sacrifice. Yeah? What exactly is chanting according to you all? I would like to hear from everyone. What do you consider as chanting? What does chanting mean to you?
Meditating.
Meditating,
Purification.
purification,
Peace.
Requesting for mercy.
requesting for mercy,
Peace.
peace,
Gratitude.
gratitude,
Service.
service.
Trying to establish a lost relationship.
Beautiful. Trying to establish a lost relationship with the Lord. Go on.
Grounding.
Sorry?
Grounding.
Grounding. Yeah, chanting helps you be grounded and stay humble. Remembering the Lord. Yeah. It is also mentioned that in Kali Yuga, the chanting specifically means that when people constantly chant the names of Lord Shri Krishna. But that brings us to the question of, are we really chanting from our heart or it's just from the mouth? Heart being the seed of all spiritual desires. Are we chanting just to get the rounds done? Or genuinely chanting for the Lord, for our Guru? Rounds which can clean the heart. When we sit and chant, it's not like, oh, I'm just chanting, I could have done something better. I could have cooked, I could have cleaned, I could have done deity worship. No. Chanting is you sitting down and working on your relationship with the Lord. It's one of the most important activities of Krishna consciousness because it is helping us develop our bond with the Lord. Yeah? Many of us would have known or experienced that in any relationship, yeah, it is very important to communicate. Yeah? So it's similar, the same thing applies to the Lord's, our relationship with the Lord. It is very important for us to communicate with the Lord. And that's only possible through chanting. And hence, we shouldn't let the mind go here and there and anywhere else. In fact, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that chanting is only effective when the mood is right, that is to serve the Lord and the spiritual master. His exact quote being, by sincerely endeavoring to chant Harinam without offenses, remaining fixed in chanting constantly, one's offenses will fade, pure Harinam will arise on the tongue. Now these rounds will clear the lust, anger and greed which we were discussing earlier. The desires which pull you off away from Krishna birth after birth and keep you in the cycle of material. Yeah? Take for example, you take the most dirtiest water in a tap or in a glass. Keep it under a running tap. In the next few minutes you will have a glass full of fresh, clean, pure water. This is the chanting of holy name for you. It's going to clean your heart. So we need to do our rounds in the right mood. We should cry out for the Lord's mercy just like a beggar cries. Yeah. Devotees often sacrifice their time, energy, give full attention to something which could instead be used for sense enjoyment. But with this, Krishna will be pleased and reward us with more time and more energy. It is said that if you have less time, you chant more. Yeah? The more we give to Krishna, the more he responds. So it is very important that our chanting reaches the heart. It cleanses our heart. It should not be that just the lips are moving or the legs are dancing. No, the heart should move, the heart should dance. We need to chant in a prayerful mood. Oh Lord, please engage me in your service. Please take residence in my heart and in my senses so that I could be a pure servant. Yeah? But again, 16 rounds. Now 16 rounds is just our duty if you think about it. After 16 rounds is the good chanting, because it's the desire to chant which takes us ahead of 16 rounds. But is chanting really tough? Yeah. How many times can you take my name, Jayanth? 10 times, 20 times? There are devotees who chant the Lord's name 1720 times every single day, and they still have desire to chant more. We talk about, I had time nahi hai. Yeah. Take an average, 16 rounds, 7 minutes for each round, 112 minutes. Yeah. That's not even 10% of our day. 10% of our day happens to be 144 minutes. So you still have 32 minutes left. In those 32 minutes, you could do 15 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of hearing, and still be less than 10% of our day. Ideally, the whole day should be engaged in Krishna service. But can't we just give 10% of the round? 10% of our day? We say, oh, it's difficult with 4 hours of screen time, 7 hours of screen time on a weekday. Yeah. 10 to 12 hours of screen time on a weekend. We say it's difficult. Yeah. It's just our choice, the choice we make on what is important to us, whether is it easy or tough. Yeah. But the main question out here could be how to chant properly. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it very simple for us. He says in the verse 3 of Shishtashtaka, the instructions by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Trinad api suvichana, Taru api sahishthana, Amani namanadena, Kirtanya sadahari. The exact translation being, one who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, who does not expect personal honor, yet is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Yeah. But to get to that stage, there are 3 different stages of chanting which we need to cross. So the 3 stages of chanting, the first one being the offensive chanting. The stage where we are unfortunately committing one of the 10 offenses onto the holy name. Yeah. We have material desires for material happiness, but Prabhupada's strict instructions were not to stop chanting. Yeah. We shouldn't stop chanting at any point of time. Even if those offenses are there, we should go on with chanting. The chanting will help us get out of all these offenses. It's very important hence to remember these 10 offenses. Anyone remembers by order? Okay, yeah, guys. Okay, let's do one by time. Let's take chance by chance. You could start, Prabhu.
Last from the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy names of the Lord.
Yeah. Laksh. The next one.
I don't know by order. Can I?
Okay, no worries. You could stay.
To instruct a non-devotee about the glories of the holy name.
Yeah, to instruct a faithless.
Yes.
Anyone else?
To disobey the orders of spiritual master.
To disobey the order of spiritual master. You've done 3.
To recite the names of demigods.
To not be completely surrendered.
To not be completely surrendered.
I think it's the last one.
Yeah. Not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy
Faith
name.
and surrender.
Yeah. Sorry?
To consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu.
Yeah. Then
To consider the chanting of the holy name to be some of the karma kanda rituals.
consider it as the fruitive activities in the karma
Not
kanda.
a good.
Yeah. Then
To disobey the orders of spiritual master.
she said that.
To consider scriptures and scriptures in pursuit of Vedic question.
Perfect. Yeah. So these are the 10 offenses. Yeah. I'm not sure. We went in different orders. I'm not sure if we covered 10. But I would request you all, please go through these 10 offenses. Devotees at the temple go through these 10 offenses every single day to remind themselves that how these 10 offenses could be an impediment in their growth of chanting in the Krishna conscious movement. Yeah. So when a neophyte devotee takes up to chanting of the Hare Krishna, he typically commits one of these 10 offenses. Yeah. So therefore, when a devotee avoids all of this, he moves on to the next stage. The next stage being the reflective stage of chanting, where one is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. The offenses have stopped, and if he progresses well, he may move on to the next stage. The third stage being offenseless chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Out here, a person literally moves on to the kingdom of God, where he's, although physically in the material world, he's tasted the transcendental life. If one chants without offenses, his love for Krishna definitely awakens. This is perfection. Lord Chaitanya says that this is the highest stage of perfection for human beings. To attain the offenseless stage, where one must guard against these offenses. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila 8.28, it is said, I'll read out the exact verse. As a result of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one makes such great advancement in spiritual life that simultaneously his material existence dominates and he receives love of Godhead. The holy name of Krishna is so powerful that by chanting even one name, one very easily achieves these transcendental riches. So we understand the glory of chanting out here. What all do you appreciate about chanting? Can I hear from people about it? Yeah. Anything which you appreciate about the holy name?
The name is very sweet.
The name is sweet.
You can't stop chanting.
We can't stop chanting. In fact, in the book Chant Hare Krishna and Be Happy, George Harrison says this very same statement, that they couldn't stop chanting and they just went on for 2 to 3 hours just constantly chanting. Yeah? Anyone else?
It reminds us that we have a purpose.
It reminds us that we have a purpose. Yeah? Okay, no worries. Now, the holy name is so powerful and the glory is so strong that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 3.79, it is said that if one distributes 10 million cows, does charity during the eclipse of sun, lives near the Ganges and Ramuna for millions of years, or donates a mountain of gold in sacrifice to the Brahmana, he still doesn't earn 100th part of merit which we get by chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That strong is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But we human beings typically have one of the greatest misfortune. If we have something great, we don't understand its value. We don't take the full advantage and we take it something as very ordinary. For example, take a case of a small baby who's not yet, got to a stage to understand anything. Keep in front of him $100 bill, and at the same time a normal paper. The baby is going to tear both, irrespective of what. Yeah? So why does that happen? Because the baby doesn't know the value of that paper. Similarly, we need to have faith. We need to understand what's the value of the mantra. When we are trying to chant the holy name, the mind is going here and there. It's trying to tell us that, oh, my attention is on the holy name, whereas in actual, the attention is on something which is more important than Krishna's name. And that's how Maya attacks us through our mind. And birth after birth takes Krishna away. Yeah. When we understand with faith the power and glory of the Krishna's name, that's only when we can take our shelter of the holy name. Otherwise, chanting is just going to be one of the casual, ritualistic, unattentive chanting. Yeah. So two things are very important. Firstly, a very mature and honest understanding of the degree and sufferings because of the material existence, and then having the faith on the holy name which has descended to give us the supreme shelter. Right? Faith will create more faith, whereas hopeless chanting will create more hopeless chanting. There are many instances in the Bhagavatam which show that one, when chanted the holy name, got the transcendental riches which no one could imagine. For example, Ajamila, a young man who got into association of a prostitute, lost his good character, began to steal and cheat and just to maintain the life. Yeah? And he was so captivated with her. But because Krishna saw the previous deeds he did in his life, he gave him one more chance in form of his son. In fact, in form of his son's name, which happened to be Narayana. So when Ajamila was at his deathbed, the Yamadutas came to take him away because of obviously the deeds he had done. Yeah. So when Ajamila saw the Yamadutas are there, he started to cry out for his son, Narayana. As soon as he uttered the word Narayana, Vishnu Dutas came running to protect Ajamila. A very similar thing happens in the Narsimha Purana, where it's mentioned that a low meat eater was being chased by a wild hog. Now these people typically consider a wild hog as something haram. So when this low meat eater man was attacked, he started to cry out haram, haram. And it happened to be her Ram, which translates to O Rama. The Lord considered that and took him to the spiritual abode. Now imagine if people like Ajamila and the low meat eater, they just took the Lord's name by mistake. What is going to happen if we sacrifice our time, energy, our efforts and chant properly? Chant attentive rounds, chant without any offenses. Where are we going to go? Yeah? So this is the power of Hare Krishna chanting. Firstly, if you have given this a thought that, oh, I want to progress to do an offenseless chanting, you're already ahead of people, because it's today's day and age, we need to convince people that chant, chant, chant. People end up chanting, but it's very mechanical. It's like, take for example, you teach a parrot how to chant. But when the same parrot is being chased by a rat, it's not going to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah? So we need to focus on the chanting, engage our mind in thinking about the Lord's leelas, focus on the meaning of the Maha Mantra. When the ears are engaged in the service of the Lord, the mind is thinking about the Lord, and thus we sacrifice our propensity to hear and think about, instead of thinking about the mundane things, we sacrifice them and think about the Lord. This way, we will be able to perform sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord. That is called attentive chanting. When these 10 offenses were prescribed, it was considered that people would chant attentively anyways. But today that's not the case, unfortunately. In one hand we have our japamala, in other hand we have our phone. Yeah? Therefore Prabhupada said that the 11th offense happens to be not chanting attentively. Yeah? So the point out here is that we need to sacrifice our demands of senses, engage our mind properly and chant properly. Yeah? But take for example, we all would agree to the fact that every government in the world is spending millions and millions of dollars just to stop people from intoxication. You know? Everyone knows about that. But again, these all governments have failed to do so. Yeah? Why? Because they just put up a law and they just start lecturing that, oh, you can't do intoxication. Well, that's not possible. You need to give them a good engagement. Yeah? You see people, when they came to ISKCON, the students of ISKCON, Prabhupada told them that give up all of these and chant Hare Krishna. Param Krishna Nivartante. Yeah? It says that if you can't give someone a good engagement, you can't stop their bad engagement. So it's very simple. We have the 4 regulative principles and we have to just do chanting. It's the Maha Mantra. Yeah? Because we all need some sort of engagement. We are not a dead stone. We cannot put something new in our hands if our hands are already full. If you want to taste the transcendental bliss and taste of holy name, therefore we need to drop our desires of mundane things, material desires. We need to give sacrifices of them. Yeah? In fact, Prabhupada says on this that the change of heart that comes by chanting should appear in our material life, yeah, in our day-to-day life. He quotes Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who says that detachment from material life itself is an important symptom of good result of chanting the Hare Krishna. Yeah? When we follow the Hare Krishna movement, that is to chant properly, follow the 4 regulative principles, we become eligible to surrender to the Lord. Bhuktanam yagya tapasam sarvaloka moheshwaram. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita 5.29, where the Lord says that I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer, and I am everyone's friend. If you want to be delivered from this miserable condition of material life, I am your best friend. Now, surrender to the Lord doesn't mean anything negative. It means you're taking the shelter of the Supreme Lover of all, who is able to protect you and capable of protecting you too. And He gives His word on this. He says this in the Bhagavad Gita. Which verse is it? Come on, everyone should know that. Yeah. So the Lord says that I am able to protect you if you give up everything and come to me. Yeah. But are we really ready to do that? That's the main question. The more we depend on the Lord, the more we are actually independent. We are independent from illusion. We are independent from suffering. We are independent from death. So definitely we should take up to chanting of this holy name. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva Nasteva. Adilya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilya 17.21. That's how we will be safe in this Kali Yuga. In the Bhagavatam, Yamaraj strictly instructs the Yamadutas never to touch a person who chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we should definitely take up this opportunity of chanting the Hare Krishna. But again, the question is, are we going to really chant from our heart or from the mouth? Yeah? What happens if we surrender to the Lord? Are we ready for that? That's the question always. His Holiness Radha Govind Das Goswami Maharaj gives a very beautiful example of Putna. Now Putna came to kill the Lord. She came to the Lord. But the Lord got hold of her so strongly that even if she wanted to escape, she couldn't. She took the Lord to a certain height and tried to drop him from there. But the Lord didn't give in. This is the Lord for you. He won't give up on you even if you wish to do so. Once you come to Him, He won't give up. But we always doubt His love. Oh, I asked for this. He didn't give me that. He doesn't love me. This is Lord's justice. We always have this. He isn't doing what I wanted to do. This could be very beautifully explained or compared to an example of a mother and a child. The mother, the child comes to the mother and says, oh, I want a toy. The mother strictly says, no, you're not getting a toy. So the child starts judging the mother's love on the basis that the child didn't get the toy. Whereas we all would agree to the fact that no one can love a child better than his mother. Yeah. Why did the mother do so?